Hi, this is Kathy from the Pikes Peak Library District. I'll be showing you a couple of print and play games today, one solo and one that you can play with other people. The links to obtain these games are in the description. You'll have to put them in your cart and check out like you're buying them to get the files, but they're free. The multiplayer game I'm going to show you is called Scuttle. You are a pirate racing other pirates to collect treasure. You win by being the first to 21 doubloons worth of treasure. Now this is a print and play card game. After you print the cards out, you will have to cut them apart. Before you start, you'll want to take out Davy Jones and the pirate robot. You'll just use these cards if you're playing the single player mode. Then shuffle the rest of your deck and deal 4 cards to each player. You can play this game with up to 5 players. On your turn, you can either draw the top card of the deck or play one of the cards from your hand. You can either play a card as a treasure, putting it down in front of you for the number of doubloons shown here. So this would give me 4 points if I play it as a treasure. Or you can play a card for its ability. The ability of this card, one opponent discards 2 cards. Some cards are permanents, like this ship's wheel here. Whenever an opponent draws a card as their action, you also draw a card. If it says permanent, play it in front of you sideways, and that stays on the table until someone plays something that can get rid of a permanent. If it's not a permanent and you're playing it for its ability, it just goes into a discard pile. And that's all there is to it. Once someone accumulates 21 doubloons worth of treasure in front of them, they win. There are cards here that let you steal other players' treasures, steal treasure, move it in front of you. So there's a little bit of back and forth. Just because you have some points in front of you now does not mean you will have those points for the rest of the game. And there are some face cards that are not worth any points, they just have an ability. There are also some rules for playing with teams, depending on how many players you have, or playing an extended game. This goes really quick, 5 or 10 minutes. So if you don't want to just play 1 or 2 rounds, you can use the extended game rules to make it into a longer game. The single player game I'm showing you here is called Tempus Imperium. This game is similar to a category of games we call roll and writes, where players roll dice and use the results to mark spaces on their board or sheet. For Tempus Imperium, you don't need dice. Instead, across this top row and this left column, we will put in the current date and time. I'll go ahead and do that now. I am shooting this. The year is 2020. It is May 21st, and it's 6:14 p.m. We fill this out with the 24-hour clock, so that is 18:14. And then I put the same numbers down the left-hand side. These numbers will determine the setup of our board for the game. This is your little empire. You'll be building it out over the course of 5 rounds with 10 turns in each round that you track up top here. So I'll show you how setup works here. You take each digit and count that many spaces down and put the symbol marked beneath the digit in that space. So I have a 2 here and I'm placing a forest. So in the second space, we place the forest. When you have a 0, that's the 10th space all the way at the bottom. This is a lake. This is a quarry. A farm, as you can see up here. This is a market. Another farm. And now we'll go across horizontally here using these numbers and these symbols. If there are any spaces where you're supposed to place a symbol and something is already there, either one of these enemies or a symbol that you placed when you're putting in the symbols for the columns, move it to the next spot over. So for example, in this row, I was supposed to put a forest. In space 8, there was already this farm here, so I moved it over to space 9. So on each turn, you will mark off the turn in the turn tracker and then do the action dictated by the digit below it. So I'll go through what all the different actions are here and then show you a few turns. If the number is a 1 or a 2, you'll draw a stretch of road, and that's just between any two squares. One stretch of road like that. Road can go anywhere on the board. It makes most sense usually to connect it to a piece of road you've already drawn, but you do not necessarily have to do that. If the number is a 3 or 4, you're digging to expand a lake. So I have a lake square here, and you're digging one spot either horizontally or vertically from a square that already has lake in it. So I could draw a lake either here or here. If you have any road near a lake, you can cross a road with a lake, and you can draw a road across a lake. If you have a 5 through a 9, you get to build something. There are a couple things you have to know about building. Each kind of building here, farms, markets, forts, and castles, have resources that you have to spend to build them. The resources that you use have to be connected by a road to the space that you're planning to build the building. For example, if I wanted to build a farm, I would have to have some road going by a forest. So if I had a stretch of road right here, and I had a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 for my turn, I could cross out one of these trees and use it to build a farm here, because they're both connected to this road. If this road was longer, I could build it all the way down here if I wanted to. So if you're building a farm, it takes one tree out of a forest. So any forest that you have horizontally or vertically adjacent to a road, you can cross a tree out of there, use it to build a farm somewhere else vertically or horizontally adjacent to that road. A market costs 2 trees and 2 gold. We start with 10 gold in our stash here. A fort costs a tree and I guess a bit of ore from a quarry and 2 gold. And a castle costs 2 bits of ore and 2 gold. Then if you have a 0 as the number for the turn, you get to choose a building to use. Each building can be used once per round, and you'll put a mark above it to indicate that it has been used in that round. If you use a farm, let's say it's the first round, I'm going to use this farm, so I'll put a 1 above it. That gets you 1 gold. If you choose to use a market, you get 1 gold for each connected farm. So that means that a market has to be horizontally or vertically adjacent to a road, and at least 1 farm has to be horizontally or vertically adjacent to that road as well. So if I decided to use this farm, let's say it's round 2, I'll put a 2 there. I would gain 1 gold because there's 1 farm also connected to that market by the road. When you use a fort, it destroys a connected enemy. When I use this fort, I get to destroy an enemy that is also horizontally or vertically adjacent to the road that the fort is horizontally or vertically adjacent to. And I gain a gold. So using it in round 1, I cross out the enemy, I gain 1 gold. When I use a castle, I gain 2 gold for each fort or market that is connected to that castle. I would currently get 2 gold because there was 1 market connected to that road. If this road came all the way over here, I would get 4 gold because there is 1 market and 1 fort connected to it. So for each turn, color in the appropriate square so that you know how many turns you've taken. Take the action, so for a 2, that's drawing a bit of road somewhere, and then move on to the next turn. Color in the tracker, do the turn, 0, use a building. Once you've completed all 10 turns in a round, at the end of each round, there's a raid. For each enemy that is adjacent to a building, you lose 1 gold. These 3 enemies, none of those count as being adjacent to a building. However, this enemy is adjacent to this market, as is this enemy. This enemy wouldn't count because we've destroyed it. On any turn, once you've colored in the square, if you don't like the action, if for whatever example, I don't want to use one of my buildings this turn, I can either skip, just color it in, decide I don't want to do anything, move on to the next turn, color that one in, keep going from there. Or I can pay 2 gold to take any other action instead. Okay, with all the rules explained there, I'll go ahead and get a blank sheet, since we have a lot of hypotheticals on this one, and show you a couple of turns, and then I'll show you how scoring works at the very end. Set up a new game here with my now current date and time, so I'll go ahead and play through a few moves here. So for the first move, we put down some road. Then we get to use a building. I'll go ahead and use this one, make a gold. I don't really want to use my other farm here this turn, and I can't use the market yet since it isn't connected to any farms. I'll spend 2 gold, extend some road. Now it's time for my raid. So I'm looking to see if there are any enemies that are horizontally or vertically adjacent to buildings. You'll sometimes see that stated as orthogonally adjacent. When we say orthogonally adjacent, we're talking horizontally or vertically adjacent. No, no, yes, because of that farm. No, 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 no. Okay, this is the only one that is orthogonally adjacent. And then you go through 4 more rounds here, and at the end, we score. So I'll go ahead and finish out this game, and then we'll score it at the end. Okay, I've finished my game here, so we can go ahead and score it. So we'll look up at the top right-hand corner here at the scoring. Castles, 10 points each. I have 1, 2 castles, 20 points. Markets and forts are 5 points each. So let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Farms are 2 points each. 2, 4, 6. Longest road, 1 point per section. So I'll start at this corner here, and let's see how long we can get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's see if we go that direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let me check this direction up as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 12 is our longest road from this corner to this corner, so that's 12 points. And then lakes are worth points for each space that they take up, multiplied by the number of adjacent buildings. So this lake over here is adjacent to no buildings, so that's no points. Same here. This lake, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares, and it's adjacent to 3 buildings, so that's 15 points. And as you can see, I did not have any 3 or 4s in my date and time, so I did have to subtract 2 gold from my bank to take that as a different action to dig that lake larger. Gold. For every 5 gold I have left over, that's 1 point. So for 20 gold, that is 4 points. And then my enemies remaining are negative 10 points each. So I have 1, 2. Did a good job of knocking them out this time. So let's see what our total is. Okay, so that makes my total 62 points. Not bad. So that's Tempest Imperium. I love how the setup changes based on the date and time. It's just such a unique mechanism, and you might have to really change your strategy based on that. Thanks for watching. Give these new games a spin, check out what other cool games are available as print and plays, and you can find some more games and game-related resources in our free resources LibGuide and in the teen section of our website.